We are at an airport where we accompany a flight attendant to her room. At first, we thought she was looking for rest after a long day of work, but in reality, she is a member of a team about to carry out a robbery. As soon as she's alone, she takes out her instruments and tells Donnie, her leader, she's in position. With the lookouts noticed, the team gets ready to move. They are at an airport and cargo port, so the only way to get in is in a container. The team quickly acts, subduing the guards and employees, and entering a plane's cargo that just landed. Once they have what they came for, it's time to leave. They only have a few seconds before the patrol finishes its round, managing to reach the container in time and leaving the area without any problems. Far away from there, we meet Nick, who in the first installment was our favorite law enforcement officer, but now it seems he's seen better days. On television, Nick sees everything about the robbery and how millions of dollars in diamonds were stolen in less than 5 minutes. Nick is convinced that this has Donnie's fingerprints all over it, and as we know, he has wanted to catch him for a long time and wants his boss to allow him to continue the investigation. However, his boss is not willing to let the world know that Donnie robbed the US Federal Reserve just so Nick can have the satisfaction of going after him. For those who don't know and don't want to go back and watch the first installment, Don and his team stole millions from the Federal Reserve Department, which destroyed old and worn-out bills. Since the money was out of circulation, the damage was contained and the government won't admit it was stolen by a bartender and his group. So Nick and this matter were buried and it wasn't mentioned again. Now that you're up to date, Donnie has arrived in France. Giovanna gives him his new credentials for the next job and also places him in a spot with a good view of the Diamond District, where we now know the next heist will occur. Yes, however, Nick is not willing to let this go. Donnie Lomi Joey buried his career, so he visits his partner's widow to see what she knows. Unfortunately, Holly won't cooperate without something in return. When Donnie fled, her husband was left dead on the highway and she didn't receive the $7 million she was promised, so she wants her share in exchange for what she knows. Back with Donnie, he is having a meeting with Ava, who is in charge of finding a buyer for the diamonds he stole before her. She gets him access to the Diamond District, a highly guarded area protected by various police forces and security services from around the world. She takes him directly to a person known as the advisor. There, Donnie pays the fee and receives an office. Now he's just another legalized merchant in one of the richest diamond districts in the world. But something tells us that Donnie didn't steal so many millions to go legit. He wants access to the vault of all the vendors, enough diamonds to live 100 lifetimes without working. In Italy, we meet Giacomo, the legitimate owner of the diamonds that Donnie stole, and he is not very happy to find out about the loss. It's a 30-carat pink diamond. However, when they open the paper to check it, a small GPS falls onto the table. Donnie is stunned, but very calmly, Java throws the GPS and tosses it into a cup of coffee. But when it comes time to make an offer, he takes advantage and lowers it by 1 million from what was agreed. The only good thing is that they paid him in cash. When Donnie informs the team about the GPS, they make sure to erase its traces from all possible places where the diamond was. Nick used what Holly gave him and found out Donnie is in France, but he no longer has his superior's support, so he must fly as a tourist. Once in France, he goes to an investigative force called Pantera. There, a colleague named Hugo is willing to help. They get him the recordings from the Diamond District and Nick can clearly see Donnie leaving the place, but he pretends not to know him. He doesn't have the support of his agency and Hugo keeps asking for his contact to do things officially. If he plans to catch Donnie, he'll have to do it clandestinely, even if it might work against him. That night, when Donnie arrives home, Nick is sitting in his house eating his food and ready to have a conversation. Although Nick is furious about what Donnie did to his career and life, he hasn't come to kill him. In fact, he wants to join the team, so Donnie will have to fix it without the rest suspecting Nick was a cop. Somba, Giacomo's right-hand man, arrives in France and his men already have the report of the last coordinates sent by the GPS. Since Donnie knows that Hava is somewhat corrupt and a victim of greed, he offers her a good sum to get him space in the vault, under the pretense that he will receive a new shipment very soon. Somba has worked quickly and knows that Donnie had the diamond before the GPS was destroyed, and they will soon find him. The team is not very happy with Nick's presence, and to test him, they give him a week. To start, he knows about his past as a cop, but if Nick stays loyal to them, they might let him stay. The night is filled with hashish cigarettes and strong alcohol until Nick is completely lost. Nick and Giovanna end up having fun together, something that particularly didn't please Marco, who is her ex. Donnie ends up protecting Nick, and now it seems like they are friends, although he keeps asking him how he did it, and Donnie finally tells him how. After all, he verified that Nick was fired and there's no jurisdiction to arrest him. While they walk home, they are kidnapped by Samba and his men. They take them to the middle of the ocean. If the guys don't answer their questions, they'll swim with the fishes. Samba talks about the Pink Diamond's history and its significance to his organization. If they don't want to die with their loved ones, they'll get it back. Then they leave them in the middle of the ocean to think about what they did, with no other option but to. Now both have become targets for the Mafia. The only hopeful thing is that if they plan to rob the district vault, they can recover the diamond now that Nick is part of the team. The plan continues, but without Marco, who is exposed. From the team, let's hope he tries to get revenge, because we haven't seen much action in a while. With the money they gave Abba, she got them space in the vault. However, they must wait for the concierge, one of the few with access, as Nick will take the package with the concierge to the vault, using a special tag full of cameras. These will provide all the information needed. Getting past the district's first security ring is easy. These guards deal with clients, not thieves, so it's simple. Then Java appears to take Nick to the concierge, who takes them directly to the vault, where the jackpot rests, a little over 850 million euros in diamonds, and Nick realizes that the pink diamond is in Abba's personal box. Nick tells Donnie about the pink diamond, but they keep it to themselves. The rest must not know what's going on. Meanwhile, Marco has brought his own colleagues, who are ready to ruin the party for our protagonists. With everything ready for the job, the team prepares, just like Marco and his people, who are eager to act. The team sets off with a mask made in D, similar to the concierge, and enters the parking lot. Then comes the hard part, crossing the gap between the buildings using only the strength of his body and one metal tube. While France is competing for the World Cup, Don and his team are carrying out the biggest heist of their lives. To reach the vault, they must go down the elevator shaft, however. They have 20 per person and time runs out quickly. Luckily, everything is going well for now and the guards have no idea of their presence yet. Once in the vault, they only have a few minutes to get everything out before time runs out. Unfortunately for them, the concierge returns earlier than expected and now they must leave much sooner than planned. And Donnie still hasn't retrieved the pink diamond. At the last available second, Donnie manages to find the diamond. Now they must get out of there before the elevator arrives. With the concierge, the team manages to reach the rooftop with the loot. Now they just have to cross the same way they came. However, the extra weight unbalanced the tube they were crossing, and it fell to the street where the guards can see it. Nick has no choice but to throw the suitcase and escape another way, obviously putting the entire escape plan at risk. The team escapes as planned, but Nick remains in the building and is looking for a way out when the alarm goes off. He has no choice but to shoot one of the guards to create a distraction and then jumps from the second floor, where the team picks him up. After handing over the loot for Giovanna to safely take it out, they remove the wrap from the car and continue their escape. While the concierge realizes the mess they've left in the vault. They don't know how much was stolen yet, but it's a lot. As the team was heading to the meeting point, they are attacked by Marco and his men. He was in charge of the escape route, so he just had to wait for them to show up. The chase intensifies as do the gunshots. Nick takes a bullet in the shoulder but manages to take out one of the cars. In the end, they have an accident and Marco has them against the ropes. But a hail of bullets comes out of nowhere and saves him. Behind the guns are Samba and his men. It turns out that Donnie wasn't escaping. He was heading to the place he was directed to return what belongs to him. After a sincere apology, a gift for Zamba's retirement, they let them go and give them one of their cars to continue on their way. A few days later, the team is in Italy, where they finally see all the stolen items, organized and appraised by their concierge. Everyone celebrates. In one night they became millionaires, until a SWAT-like group enters and captures them. When they take them out, Nick is taken to the other side and it's revealed that Hugo arrested them and betrayed the team. Once you're a cop, you never stop being one, no matter if for a moment you had 100 million all to yourself and the love of a girl who trusted you. In prison, Nick visits Donnie to tell him that they are finally even. However, he enjoyed the life on the other side, but he has always been a law enforcement officer. Before leaving, Nick tells Donnie to sit at the back on the left, which seems strange to him, but he doesn't understand it until he's being transferred for extradition to the US and sees an armed helicopter approaching. Then another one appears and blocks the officer's path. Quickly, a group of armed men appears and rescues Donnie in less than 1 minute. Donnie has no idea who saved him, but he's surely better off with them than in prison, so he cooperates with them. These men take him to Giacomo, and there we find out that it was Zamba who saved him. Giacomo is very impressed with the robbery that Donnie carried out and wants him to work for him. The only reason Nick passed the message was to save his own life, because Zamba got to him first. Now they might meet again. Only this time Donnie has gone from being the prey to the hunter. And that's how this great movie ends. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and thanks